There's a story that's unfolded in the heart of Santa Fe, New Mexico, that no one expected to tell. A tale not of movie sets or dramatic plots, but of something much darker hidden within the mansion of one of Hollywood's most beloved legends. Gene Hackman, the actor who brought unforgettable characters to life on screen, was found dead, along with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, in their secluded home. What the FBI discovered inside that mansion would leave anyone with more questions than answers. But what happened? Was it a tragic accident, a dark conspiracy, or perhaps something more sinister? There was a mystery so deep it seemed almost scripted for a thriller movie, and now the world is left in suspense, wondering what really happened to the Hollywood icon and his wife. It was a morning like any other when two maintenance workers arrived at Gene Hackman's estate. They were simply there to take care of routine work around the house, like checking systems and cleaning up after the pets. They'd visited the mansion many times before, but this time would be unlike anything they'd ever experienced. When they reached the property, the first thing that struck them was the door, wide open. Not a typical sight in a home where privacy and security were paramount. As they stepped inside, the stillness of the house felt wrong. The dogs were roaming around freely, but something about their presence was off. As the workers continued further inside, they came across a sight that would haunt them forever. The bodies of Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, lifeless and alone. What had happened to them? Why had no one noticed their absence? No one had heard from them for days, weeks even, and now their lifeless bodies lay in the house, as if time had stopped. The initial shock began to settle in, and as the workers looked around, they noticed things that seemed completely out of place. Decomposed bodies, pets left to fend for themselves, and an overwhelming sense of something unfinished. The scene was bizarre, as though some greater hidden truth was locked within the walls of that mansion, just waiting to be uncovered. The scene inside Hackman's mansion was unsettling. Hackman was found in a small room near the back door. His cane and sunglasses lay nearby, a subtle reminder of his frailty. But Betsy was found in a bathroom, surrounded by something that made the whole situation even more mysterious. Pills. There were scattered prescription pills all over the counter. An open bottle left carelessly beside her. Investigators couldn't ignore the oddity of the situation. Was this a case of accidental overdose, or was it something more calculated? One investigator, experienced in handling death cases, looked at the scene and shook his head. "No way this adds up." "I've seen thousands of cases, but this one is unlike any other. Two people dead at the same time? Something's not right." The bodies had been decomposing for quite some time, and the investigation was just beginning. But what could explain it? No signs of forced entry, no obvious injuries, yet the bodies were found in two separate rooms, far apart from each other. How could this have happened? At first, the theory of carbon monoxide poisoning seemed to be the most plausible explanation. After all, no one knew exactly how long the couple had been dead, and carbon monoxide can easily go unnoticed. It's an invisible, odorless gas that can silently suffocate people in their homes, and in the isolated environment of Hackman's mansion, it seemed like a reasonable guess. But when the gas company arrived to inspect the property's gas lines, their findings brought a major shock. There were no issues, no leaks, no gas malfunction. The carbon monoxide theory was ruled out, and with that, the mystery deepened even further. Without a clear cause of death, investigators were left with a wide array of possibilities. Could it have been a tragic accident? Could one of them have fallen ill or succumbed to a medical condition? The lack of visible injuries made homicide less likely, but it didn't rule out the possibility. There were also whispers of the possibility that one of them had died first and the other had followed soon after, perhaps in a desperate attempt to cope with the loss. Could the state of the bodies be a clue to that? The speculation continued to swirl, and each new theory seemed to lead only to more unanswered questions. Was it an accident? Could the couple have taken their own lives? Or was there a deeper, more hidden cause? As each piece of the puzzle was examined, it seemed like the answers only led to more layers of intrigue. There were no signs of struggle, no visible trauma, and no one had seen anything unusual in the days leading up to their deaths. As federal investigators arrived on the scene, what they found shocked them. They had seen death many times before, but this was different. The conditions of the bodies seemed almost frozen in time. Something about the scene felt off. But what exactly? How could a man like Gene Hackman, famed for his roles in The French Connection, Unforgiven, and Superman, have ended up in such a state with no one noticing his absence for so long. A full investigation was launched, and authorities began considering every possibility: natural causes, a tragic accident, or perhaps even homicide. But with no clear answers in sight, the questions only grew. How did this happen? How could someone like Hackman, who had led such an illustrious life, pass away in such mysterious circumstances? And what about Betsy? What had caused her death? Gene Hackman was 95 when he passed. Despite his age, he had remained incredibly active, practicing Pilates and yoga to maintain his health. His daughter, Elizabeth Hackman, spoke out, speculating that carbon monoxide poisoning might have played a part in her father's death. Hackman had always kept in good shape, so the news of his sudden death left many baffled. It didn't add up. But what about Betsy? She was only 63, a much younger age. Her death raised even more questions. Elizabeth described their marriage as strong, and Betsy was known for being deeply concerned with Hackman's health. She had taken on the role of caretaker, making sure he stayed fit and healthy, yet she too was gone. Gene Hackman had faced his own health challenges over the years. He'd suffered heart issues, including an angioplasty at the age of 60 to prevent a heart attack. Despite this, Hackman had continued to work and live a full life, retiring only when he felt the strain of his health was too great. But had the stresses of his career and aging taken too much of a toll on him? Was the decline in his health a factor in his passing? Or was there something more at play? Hackman's decision to leave Hollywood and retire to a quieter life in New Mexico seemed like an attempt to reclaim peace in his life. But was it really the end of the story? The investigation continued. Theories swirled. Was it an accident, a health complication, or had there been foul play? The open door suggested that someone might have entered the house, but there were no signs of forced entry. Could someone have been involved, or was this a tragedy waiting to unfold in the quiet of their home? With toxicology reports pending, the world waited, hoping to uncover the truth. The lives of two individuals who had left a lasting impact on the world were now surrounded by mystery. What really happened inside that house in Santa Fe? Could it have been something as simple as a medical emergency, or was there something darker hiding behind the facade of Hollywood? As the mystery deepens, we're left with more questions than answers. Did Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa meet a tragic fate, or was there something far more complicated at play? Only time and the results of the investigation will tell, but one thing is certain: the shocking discovery inside their mansion has left the world reeling. If you want to follow the latest developments and dive deeper into the mysteries surrounding Gene Hackman's life and death, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned as we continue uncovering the untold stories behind Hollywood's most legendary figures. See you in the next video.